Levi's, Lee, and Wrangler don't make a single pair of jeans in America anymore. Across an entire industry, only 4 brands still do. How we lost the rest begins with one trade deal and a betrayal decades in the making. Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis changed American workwear forever on May 20, 1873. That day, the U.S. Patent Office granted them patent number 139,121 for an improvement in fastening pocket openings. Their invention, the first riveted blue jeans, was designed to withstand the brutal demands of miners and railroad workers. Denim, once an ordinary fabric, became the backbone of the American labor force. By the early 1900s, 3 names, Levi's, Lee, and Wrangler, dominated the market, each building a national identity around the promise of durability and honest work. Factories rose from San Francisco to Kansas, turning out millions of pairs for ranch hands, soldiers, and everyday Americans. These brands didn't just sell pants. They sold the idea that American craftsmanship meant something real. Blue jeans became a symbol of resilience and self-reliance, stitched into the fabric of the country's story. For generations, "Made in USA" wasn't a slogan. It was a fact, and it was everywhere. January 1994 changed everything. The North American Free Trade Agreement erased tariffs on Mexican-made denim, making it cheaper for brands to move production across the border. Soon after, the numbers tell the story. Levi Strauss announced the closure of its last 2 U.S. plants in San Antonio, Texas. On January 8, 2004, about 800 workers lost their jobs, some after decades on the line. Lee's final Arkansas plant followed, shutting down on June 30, 2005, with 210 more jobs gone. That same year, Wrangler closed its Kansas facility, eliminating roughly 1,200 positions. Each closure came with the same corporate explanation. American labor costs were too high to compete with factories in Mexico, China, or Bangladesh. WARN Act filings stacked up in state offices. In Texas, the loss of Levi's alone meant a 12% drop in the local garment workforce. These were not just business decisions. They were body blows to entire communities, delivered in the name of global efficiency. Factories that once symbolized American grit fell silent, replaced by empty lots and shuttered gates. Cone Mills White Oak began weaving denim in Greensboro, North Carolina in 1905. For more than a century, its shuttle looms churned out selvedge denim that clothed generations of American workers. At its height, the mill supplied nearly 30% of the world's denim and gave steady jobs to 2,500 people. The sound of those looms was the heartbeat of Greensboro, a rhythm that carried through wars, depressions, and boom years alike. But as global brands chased cheaper fabric abroad, orders dried up. Levi's, once White Oak's biggest customer, pulled back. Repairs on century-old machines became impossible to justify. In October 2017, the announcement came. The last American selvedge denim mill would close on December 31st. When the final shuttle stopped, it wasn't just the end of a factory. It was the loss of a craft, a community, and a piece of American identity. Workers who had spent decades on the floor walked out for the last time, leaving behind a silence that still hangs over the old brick walls. The phrase, "Made in USA," is stamped on millions of jeans, but the truth behind that label is far murkier than most shoppers realize. The Federal Trade Commission sets the official standard. For a product to claim "Made in USA," it must be all or virtually all made here. But the FTC's 3-prong test leaves loopholes big enough to drive a truck through. First, final assembly or processing must happen in the United States. Second, all significant manufacturing steps must be domestic. Third, All or nearly all components must be US sourced. Yet in practice, jeans cut and sewn in America from fabric woven overseas often pass muster, as long as the last stitches are added on US soil. Brands can legally slap on a patriotic label even when the denim itself was woven in Mexico, Bangladesh, or China. The FTC's 2023 guidance reaffirmed this rule, but case after case shows how easily companies exploit it. Consumers trust the label, but the reality is that made in USA can mean little more than a final hem or pocket sewn stateside. The result is a market flooded with jeans that look American, but have little to do with American workers, mills, or cotton. For anyone who cares where their clothes come from, the gap between the label and the truth is not just misleading, it is a betrayal. Texas Jeans operates out of Asheboro, North Carolina, and stands as proof that real American-made denim doesn't have to break the bank. Every pair is cut, sewn, and finished in their own factory, using cotton grown on US soil. Prices start at just $30 and rarely top $49, a fraction of what most so-called made-in-USA brands charge. By keeping their process lean and direct-to-consumer, Texas Jeans delivers genuine American workwear to people who actually wear it. In a market crowded with imported imitations, this is the rare case where the label matches the reality. Authenticity doesn't have to cost a fortune. All American Clothing Co. runs its entire operation out of Arcanum, Ohio, keeping every step from cutting and sewing to finishing under one roof. The company is still owned and managed by the founding family, who built the business on a simple promise: jeans that are genuinely American-made, at prices most people can actually afford. Most pairs sell for less than $70, a rare feat in today's denim market. The workflow is straightforward: American-grown cotton, woven into denim at US mills, then cut, stitched, and packed by local workers in Ohio. This full domestic chain means buyers get more than a label. They get the real thing, without the premium price tag. Raleigh Denim Workshop stands at the top of American jeans, with prices starting at $230. Victor and Sarah Litvinenko oversee every step in their Raleigh, North Carolina workshop. Each pair is hand-cut, sewn in small batches, manoa, and signed on the pocket. They use raw selvedge denim, once produced by Cone Mills before its 2017 closure, and rely on American-grown cotton when possible. Their jeans are crafted like heirlooms, durable, rare, and made in numbers that wouldn't fill a single shift at the old Levi's plant. Roundhouse, founded in 1903 in Shawnee, Oklahoma, is about scale. Today, it produces around 1,000 pairs a day, about 25,000 a month, making it the largest American denim maker left. But the economics are harsh. At about $70 a pair, Roundhouse targets working Americans. Vice President David Antosh says, "Our profit margins are extremely low. We make hardly any money on these jeans." That honesty strips away the myth of easy profit. Roundhouse survives through relentless efficiency and razor-thin returns. These two brands, one built on craft, the other on output, reveal what it takes to keep American denim alive. Prestige or volume, neither path is easy. The reality is sobering. Making jeans in America is no longer a ticket to prosperity. It's a daily fight against cheap imports, squeezed margins, and a market that's forgotten what the label once meant. Today, only 4 brands cut denim in America, while most jeans just borrow the flag. As David Antosh says, "We make hardly any money on these jeans." That's the real price. Share your thoughts below.